Welcome to the Sports Bash pre-show presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz, joined by Vinny Tickets, 631-451-1039, the number to call. We'll have WizKid Vinny on the update in just a moment. Later on in the show, we have a free ticket Tuesday, Vinny.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. Jets and the Giants preseason game at MetLife Stadium coming up in August. We don't have the exact date of it yet, but you'll get 2 tickets for the Jets-Giants preseason game. We'll tell you about it later on in the show. But right now, it is time for the Sports Bash Flash. It is brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner is located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. This would be a great time to commend Chris Ganem, our video coordinator, on the outstanding job producing the Embassy Diner commercial that we will see later on in the show.
Yeah, it's all about vision. And when you share a vision with Chris, he shares it with the client. So kudos to Chris for that work that he did for us.
And great work at Collaborate Studios on the Embassy Diner. But with very little time to waste, here is WizKid Vinny with the Sports Bash Flash.
Thanks, Peter. In the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, the Boston Celtics completed the 4-game sweep against the Indiana Pacers, winning Game 4, 115-112. Small forward Jaylen Brown won MVP of the series as Boston awaits their opponent for the finals.
Do you know what they call the MVP award for the Eastern Conference Finals?
The Larry Bird.
Very nice. Very good.
Just like how they call the West.
You don't get credit for that on the Stump the Wiz statistics, though, but I just wanted to make sure you knew what that was.
Yeah. As for the Western Conference Finals, Game 4 will be tonight in Dallas as the Mavericks look to sweep the Minnesota Timberwolves and try to advance to their 3rd finals in their history. Game starts at 8:30 on TNT. By the way, in case you're curious, the Western Conference one is called the Magic Johnson Trophy.
Yes.
In the NHL Western Conference Finals,
I would have waited till tomorrow to try and ask you that question, but you did a punch. Go ahead.
Yeah, beat you to the punch indeed. In the NHL Western Conference Finals, the Dallas Stars came back and defeated the Edmonton Oilers in Game 3 last night by a score of 5-3 in Game 3. Dallas now leads the series 3-1.
That was some game because Edmonton jumps out to a 2-0 lead in that game.
What a game.
And they're blowing them out of the building. And Dallas, but they are tough, man. They come back with those 3 goals in the second period. And listen, that could be a 6 or 7 game series too. Both of those teams are really good.
Yeah, reinvigorates an old rivalry from the 90s and 2000s. Over in the Eastern Conference Finals for the NHL, tonight in Sunrise, the New York Rangers will try to take a 3-1 series lead against the Florida Panthers. Puck drop will be tonight at 8 on ESPN.
I have some other thoughts on the series that will wait till we welcome in the radio audience for the first segment of the show. But this has been a very interesting series because when you look at the trends of the series, it doesn't necessarily equate to where we stand in the series.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about it more when we welcome in the radio audience, but this has been a very intriguing and fun series to watch.
In the MLB, the Yankees will begin their road series against the Los Angeles Angels tonight at 9:38. And finally, in Queens, after being rained out yesterday, the Mets will have a doubleheader tonight for their series against the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight at 4:10.
They didn't waste any time raining that game out yesterday. I feel like I was having breakfast when the Mets announced that they were raining that game out.
Yeah. And it was raining, though. We had some serious rain.
Raining hard, and both New York and LA teams are facing against each other for this series.
And just really quick, I'm sorry, Vinny, from a ticket perspective, it was very interesting that they went with a straight single admission doubleheader because with the Dodgers coming in and Shohei Ohtani, you would think they would want the day-night doubleheader for 2 chances to bring people into Citi Field.
Absolutely. They didn't take advantage of that one.
All right, time for you to lock out.
With your Sports Bash Flash, I'm WizKid Vinny Laspanuso.
And WizKid will be back later on in the show with This Day in Sports History. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to welcome in our radio audience in just a moment and get Sports Bash Flash, Sports Bash presented by TicketBash.com going in just a few moments. Coming up, the start of Sports Bash here on LI News Radio and also on Facebook and YouTube.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, by Falcone Law Firm. If you need to speak to an attorney, call them at 631-6074-LAW. That's 631-607-4529. By the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. Visit their website at martylyonsfoundation.org, and by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more information, call them at Chris, I wrote down the wrong number. What is the phone number for Collaborate Studios? I wrote down the studio number on the script. 516 509 8277. So let's get this post-holiday work week off on a flying start with a typographical error on my part on the script. So good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz, joined by Vinny Ticket. 631-451-1039 is the number to call to join the show. Vinny, hope you had a great Memorial Day weekend.
Great weekend.
Great eats, great some family
relaxed.
get together. Yeah,
Yes.
watch a lot of sports.
Celebrated the birthday. So
Absolutely, yes. And again, another belated happy birthday. We had a great celebration here on Friday with the
did.
cake, and it was good for you to turn 25, right?
yes, it was. And I even got to have cake for breakfast. I haven't done that since I'm 9 years
It was
old.
a couple of cheat days for you.
Yes,
when
it's
it's
exciting.
birthday time. We have a lot to cover on the show. Again, 631-451-1039 number to call. It's a big night for the Rangers and their fans. Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final in Florida. The Rangers lead 2-1. I touched on this on the pre-show, and I teased it because I wanted to have a little more time to start the conversation. If you're a Rangers fan, you've got to be ecstatic coming out of the first 3 games with the 2 wins, because my point was going to be, listen, 2-1 is 2-1. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't matter if you played horrible for 59 minutes out of a 60-minute game, as long as you win the game. It doesn't matter if you go 1 overtime, 2 overtimes, 3 overtimes. It doesn't matter in the Stanley Cup playoffs as long as you figure out a way to win the game. But the Rangers, Vinny, are winning this series 2-1 when you can make the argument that the Florida Panthers have been the better team for most of the 3 games, and there is one reason and one reason only that the Rangers are winning this series 2-1, and that is the guy between the pipes, Igor Shesterkin. He's been outstanding.
Yes, for sure. So when you talk about the hits, when you talk about shots on goal, when you talk about speed, when you talk about energy, whether they were playing at home or they were playing at the Garden, and I'm a Ranger fan, but they were outplayed, and to be outplayed for 3 games and have those moments of brilliance that they've had, and to come into the series 3 games to be up 2-1, it's a Houdini act.
And when I praise Igor Shesterkin and say that the Panthers have been the better team in the 3 games, I don't want to minimize what Barclay Goodrow has meant to the Rangers in the series. 2 goals in game 3 on Sunday. Alexis Lafreniere had 2 goals as well in that game, but Goudreau also had the overtime game winner earlier in the series, and in game 2 at Madison Square Garden. So they've received some contributions from some unlikely players in this series, and Alex Wenberg, getting the overtime goal in game 4 on Sunday. But Igor Shesterkin is the single biggest reason why the Rangers are winning the series 2-1, because when they collapsed in game 3 on Sunday in the 3rd period and Florida came back and tied the game, Florida was buzzing. They were buzzing, just like they've been in a lot of times in the series, and every time there was a critical save to make, 99% of the time in the playoffs, Shesterkin has made the save. And that's why when you talk about, and this goes for any team that is successful in the Stanley Cup playoffs, when you have the hot goalie and you have that franchise goalie that can steal games for you, when the Artemi Panarins of the world are not doing anything, when the Mika Zibanejads of the world are not doing anything, and you have that goalie that can make a save at the right time, and at some point it leads to an opportunity on the other end of the ice, you can't ask for more than that.
You know what? At some point, it has to get a little bit disheartening when you're playing the way you play. And
well, this is when it gets disheartening. It'll get disheartening if the Panthers win this game tonight and it's 2-2 going back to Madison Square Garden, and now you're in a 2 out of 3 game situation to go to the finals.
On the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So again, it's very interesting because you don't want to minimize what the Rangers have done in the series, winning 2-1. But it's very weird to say you're winning the series 2-1, and you have a lot of adjustments that you have to make, because at some point this Panthers team will capitalize on their chances. They just swarm and they beat you down. They're so big and they're so heavy. And if you're the Rangers right now and you're winning the series 2-1, you have a lot of things to fix. You have a lot of things to be concerned about, because this could very easily be Panthers up 3-0 in this series. There's no question about it. And listen, they've got Game 4 on their home ice tonight. They're playing well in the series. If they bury their chances, we could very well be talking about a 2-2 series going back to Madison Square Garden. And then again, 2 out of 3, you never know what can happen.
Yeah. So do you call this must win for tonight for the Panthers?
Oh, 100%.
Must win, right?
100%.
Yeah,
because
I thought so.
Yeah, because if you looked at it the other way around, if you were the Rangers and you fell behind 3-1, I wouldn't count them out, because they've got 2 games at home. And they've been so good at the Garden that, and listen, the Rangers have been just as good on the road as well. But I would give the Rangers, with their firepower, more of a chance to come back 3-1 than the Panthers. I think the Panthers would have to turn to playing desperate hockey if they were down 3-1, which is why this is such a huge game tonight, because if the Panthers can get it to 2-2, and now you start thinking, if you're the Rangers, okay, we're in a battle here against this team, we're probably going to go 7 games. But if the Rangers win this game tonight, I don't see how they lose Game 5 at home on Thursday night. That's how big I think this game is tonight. And listen, if you're the Panthers and you get, the game is tied in the third period, and you get a power play at the end of the third period, you got to capitalize on that. So the Panthers have let some chances get away, but also, for the most part, the Rangers, their penalty killing has been good. They've been able to come up with big plays from unlikely heroes at the right time. And that, listen, again, like I said at the top, it doesn't matter how you get there. This is not the old BCS in college football where you get style points. There are no style points in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's getting the job done. It's winning. It's surviving. And that's what the Rangers have done, and you have to give them all the credit in the world. And I think also...
So when he got that goal... did that go off the middle of his stick? I tried to watch it a couple of times. It's very strange,
and I'll tell you something, because we were not live yesterday, and had we been live yesterday, Vinny we would have played both highlights of the Rangers call of the goal by Don LaGreca, and there was a national broadcast of the game on the radio. Both Don LaGreca, I think the guy's name was John. Vinny, we played a cut from him earlier in the playoffs, John Allens or something like that from Sports USA.
Yes.
They were both guys called Gustafson taking the shot when it was Lindgren who took the shot, because I was working at FAN and CBS Sports, Infinity Sports Network, to my Odyssey employers. They changed the name of the network, and I'm not getting used to it. But I played both sound bites on Sunday, and they both called the wrong guy shooting the puck. One number is 55 and one guy is 56, so it could be hard to tell at times who it was, but they both messed up the call of the win. And one guy, I think it was the national guy, said that Roslovic tipped it in front when it was Wenberg who tipped it in front. It was a very weird play. And here was the other thing about Game 3 the other day. Florida was dominating the Rangers on the faceoffs the whole game. I think Florida had won 75%. But again, this goes back to my point. It doesn't matter how it looks. It's when you win the faceoff. It's when you're able to get a break. It's when you're able to make a big save. And the Rangers won a faceoff at the right time and got a chance. And that's how sometimes Stanley Cup playoff games end, when you least expected an unlikely hero, and that's how the Rangers won Game 3. And you have to give them all the credit in the world, because it's all about surviving.
Yeah. I think when we were talking about the Knicks a couple of weeks ago, they were finding a way. We all use that term in the industry.
Yeah.
And really, the Rangers are just finding a way.
No question about it. And there's a lot of other things to talk about on the show today. We're going to have a free ticket Tuesday later on. We're going to give away 2 tickets to the Jets-Giants preseason game. We have some sad news from the sports world yesterday. We'll talk about it more on the other side of the break, but Bill Walton passed away. And Bill Walton is another one of those sports figures that spans generations, because if you're older like myself and you, no, I'm sorry about that. I know it's 25 is a big number to get to on the birthday, but obviously we remember him playing. and dealing with all those injuries. But for younger fans, he's known as an analyst. And we lost him yesterday at the age of 71. We'll talk more about Bill Walton when we come back. We'll have This Day in Sports History. We've got some other things to talk about a little bit later on in the show. It's Peter Schwartz, it's Vinny Tickets, it's WizKid Vinny. We want your phone calls at 631-451-1039. We're going to come back. Again, 2 tickets for the Jets-Giants preseason game at MetLife Stadium. We've got a trivia question for that coming up. No WizKid Vinny. It does not count again towards the Stump the Wiz, which, by the way, is tomorrow, and we're still working on securing a question for that. We'll have that. But Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com, is going to roll on with more right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. It's Peter Schwartz, Vinny Tickets, WizKid Vinny, back for our online viewers only right now as we wait for our radio audience to welcome for us to welcome back the radio audience on Facebook and YouTube. We're with you right now, and in a minute we're going to be rejoining the radio audience. Peter Schwartz, Vinny Tickets, WizKid Vinny. We just saw the Embassy Diner commercial, so again, thanks to everybody at the Embassy Diner. Gus, all the staff was in there over the weekend with my family. Always a great meal at the Embassy Diner, and Gus watches the show. I mean, we go in there and he's like, that WizKid Vinny segment is really, really good. His father, Pete, is in there, and he loves the show too, so it's great to have that the collaboration with Embassy Diner and Bethpage.
Yes, we need to get as seen on Sports Bash out there.
Absolutely, and we're working on some cool things with them right now. We may be doing a live special Sports Bash coming up at Embassy Diner. We're working on that. We'll let you know, but we're about to welcome back our radio audience to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. 631-451-1039 is the number to call to join the show. Coming up in just a few minutes, it's Free Ticket Tuesday. 2 tickets for the Jets-Giants preseason game at MetLife Stadium. And we're going to have a trivia question for you that's coming up in just a moment. But first, it is time for This Day in Sports History. WizKid Vinny.
Thanks, Peter. And I would argue this day, May 28th, was an event that changed the state of New York, the city of New York City, and the entire world of sports.
It saddened a lot of people in New York, too.
Yes.
Oh, it saddened a lot, but some it was even worse.
Saddened my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Tell us, everybody, what happened.
Well, 1957, it was a day that lived in infamy for everyone in the city. It was a day that the Dodgers and the Giants announced that starting the 1958 season, they would leave the state of New York and would go out west to California.
So both of them on the same day made the announcement.
Both of them. The reason why,
Interesting.
There's a whole story behind that, because this was at a time in the 50s where for like 5 decades, the MLB was basically the same 16 teams. But then that all changed when, in my opinion, Hall of Fame snub, Lou Perini moved the Boston Braves to Milwaukee. And the other owners saw this was very successful. So the St. Louis Browns moved to Baltimore and became the Orioles. The Philadelphia Athletics moved the A's to Kansas City. These were teams that were the second teams in their cities. They wanted their own place for themselves. And at the same time, Walter O'Malley, the Hall of Fame owner for the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time, was having some disagreements with Ebbets Field and Robert Moses, and were thinking, you know what? California is getting bigger and bigger thanks to post-World War II. The Pacific Coast League was very big, but they want to put National League Baseball over in California, and they looked over to the Giants. At that time, Horace Stoneham was having issues with the Polo Grounds, and he was considering moving them to Minneapolis, St. Paul, where the Washington Senators would eventually move over there and became the Twins. But O'Malley said to Stoneham, hey, you want to go to California? We can be in Los Angeles. You can be in San Francisco. We can keep the rivalry intact. And then he said, you know what? Sure, let's do it. And the rest was history. Their rivalry still continues to this day, many decades later. And as a result of that, the Mets came to town in 1962 wearing the blue for the Dodgers and the orange for the Giants. And yeah, that was a day that really changed baseball and still, I would argue, impacts the game and the state as a whole.
All right, Vinny, thank you very much. 631-451-1039. We've got some callers. Let's go to Kirk in Seattle. Kirk, you're up first today on Sports Bash. Kirk in Seattle, you're up.
How you doing?
Hey, good. Yourself?
Doing great. Thank you so much. First off, special shout out to my good friend, the Whiz Kid.
Hey, Kirk, how you doing?
Doing good, Vinny. How are you, man?
Doing great. Great to hear you.
Yeah, so I got a question for the panel. I want you to put on your tinfoil hats here, and in the next 10 years...
I didn't bring it with me. I didn't bring the tinfoil hat with me today, but go ahead.
We'll do our best, though. Go ahead, Kirk.
It was metaphoric then.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, in the next 10 years, so in 2034, what sport or league do you think is going to be much healthier than it is right now? Can't say the WNBA.
Can't say the WNBA. I'm gonna go way off the board here, and I'm gonna say it's going to be the Premier Lacrosse League, because lacrosse in North America is getting so big. And the Rabel brothers have done such a great job in promoting the game of lacrosse and really bringing lacrosse to the forefront now. And you're starting to see this league really take off with numbers, not just with television ratings, but their social media metrics have been so through the roof in the last couple of years. And the league has really grown by leaps and bounds since they started a few years ago. I'm going to go Premier Lacrosse League, and Paul and Mike Rabel doing a great job running that league.
Interesting. Okay.
Well,
Let's see what Wiz has to say.
In terms of the four major sports, I still think the NBA has been leaps and bounds the best run of the four major leagues across the. I know some people would disagree, but
I vote for the NFL.
Oh, well, listen, the NFL is a money-making machine. The NBA, I think, has got the best commissioner. I think Adam Silver's got all the great intentions. The problem is that the interest from the general public, there's nothing bigger than the NFL. I just don't, again, I'm on board saying this all the time. I'm not on board with the international games. I think the NFL spends too much time. And again, they're making a boatload of money. But I just don't like the whole taking the games to London and Germany and things like that. But you can't deny what Roger Goodell has meant to the owners of the NFL.
Oh, he makes their pockets rich. I would say I would argue the biggest output for the NFL being overtaking the NBA are those international games.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I know we're
going to disagree on that.
I know they are not your favorite, but I have friends over in UK, Germany.
I'm not concerned about your friends over in the UK. I'm concerned about the season ticket holders here in the United States and North America.
Okay,
we have to let Kirk go. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling, Kirk.
Let's go to Glenn in Flushing. Glenn, you're up next on Sports Bash.
Hey guys.
What's happening, Glenn?
Gus. How are you guys? First of all, that commercial with the diner is awesome. I can't wait to get over there and meet Gus.
Oh, absolutely. You have to. Make sure you mention Sports Bash, because what do you get if you mention Sports Bash?
Free dessert.
There you go. And the desserts are through the roof. Outstanding. Go ahead.
You guys are going to get some kind of television Emmy award for that.
all thanks to Chris Gannon for that.
Yes. Very sad about Bill Walton.
Yes.
I'll never forget that, even though I'm a Knicks fan, that 85-86 Celtic team, he was like the perfect addition. They went 40-1 at home, and, just ultimate team passing and incredible, with Larry Bird and him and DJ, the whole gang. he'll be incredibly missed. Too young at 71. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn.
Thank you,
I
Glenn.
touched on this before the break. He was such a larger-than-life figure. So enjoyed life. Whatever he did, played, broadcast, loved the Grateful Dead, has great stories about getting the Boston Celtics into the Boston Garden to see a sold-out Grateful Dead concert. I saw this interview on social media yesterday. Just a great ambassador to the game of basketball, and he's going to be missed.
Absolutely will be missed.
It is Free Ticket Tuesday. Time to win 2 tickets to see the Jets take on the Giants in their annual preseason game at MetLife Stadium this coming August. The actual date to be announced. We'll take the third caller. That's the third caller, 631-451-1039, who can correctly answer this question. No jumping in. Wiz, your time will come tomorrow. You look at, I think Wiz wants to rip my head off that I just keep
Yeah, you're teasing him.
I'm teasing him a little bit.
Yeah.
All right,
Believe
here's
me.
the question.
I know.
Here's the question. What was the original name of MetLife Stadium when it opened in 2010? What was the original the name of MetLife Stadium when it opened in 2010? We'll take the third caller at 631-451-1039. If you are the third correct caller with that answer, you will go to see the Jets and the Giants in the preseason game on this coming August at MetLife Stadium. And we want to know what it was called before it was MetLife Stadium. It wasn't very original, but there was another name when it first opened. I wanted to bring up a couple of things really quick before we say goodbye. We had a chance, Wiz and I were at the Jose Quintana Baseball Clinic last week, did a great job with the kids, working with them. It was at the All Sports facility in Melville, so we had a great time meeting Jose Quintana and seeing the kids. This Thursday on Sports Bash, we got a great in-studio guest. My good friend Rich Big Daddy Salgado is going to be in. He's the president of Coastal Advisors. He's got his Big Daddy golf outing coming up in June to benefit St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We're going to talk to him on Thursday. We're going to have him in for the whole show, talk about what he does for professional athletes and helps them with their financial planning and their
Very
insurance.
important. Yeah.
And that's coming up on a big show on Thursday. But tomorrow, it's Stump the Wiz. So get those questions, private message us, direct message us on the Sports Bash Media Instagram and Facebook pages. He's getting ready. He's got his encyclopedias out, his whatever he does to get ready. He's 0 for 2, so he's got to get off the schneid tomorrow. So that's coming up on a big Wednesday show, Stump the Wiz Wednesday tomorrow. We've got a great prize to give away to the winner if you do stump him from the Marty Lyons Foundation. Great prize coming up. We'll tell you about it tomorrow. For Vinny Tickets, I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you tomorrow morning.